Hi everybody, Jen Heron here. I am a Periscope lover, a LuLaRoe lover, and all things technology nerd. I am not the most technologically savvy person on the planet, but I do love to find out ways to do what I need to do with my technology. And I love to share that information with you guys. So I did a Periscope not too long ago. If you follow me over on Periscope at Jen Loves LuLaRoe, I did a Periscope not too long ago that was specifically revolving around how to use your content on Periscope and bring that content over to YouTube so that your viewers have a chance to watch that on replay beyond that 24-hour window. So when I did that Periscope, it went really well. We had a great time doing it, and I had set up my settings on Periscope to save that broadcast to my camera roll. For whatever reason, there was a technology fail and it did not save it. So after 24 hours, that particular broadcast was lost forever. Such a sad day, but it did give me an opportunity to do a remake of that Periscope broadcast, same content, but in a little bit different format to share with all of you here on YouTube. And I think it's actually going to work out a little better in this case. So today I'm just going to share my screen with you here on my MacBook Pro. If you're someone that follows me here on YouTube or over on Twitter, or I'm sorry, over on Periscope, you know that I use Apple products as my hardware for all of my technology conversations, all of my tech talks. So I'm on my MacBook Pro today, and we're going to be talking about how to use your videos that you broadcast over on Periscope and bring those over to YouTube. And there's a couple of easy ways to do that, and then there's a couple of ways that we're going to dig into that will just help make that transition a little easier and a little more viewer friendly. Okay, so let's start with the basics. So I have you on my YouTube page right now. So you're seeing my latest YouTube upload before this one gets uploaded. And that was a conversation I did about Apple products in general and how to use them in your business. Now, obviously, my business is LuLaRoe, so that's what it was geared towards, was my fellow consultants with LuLaRoe. But these are topics that really can be used in any kind of small business environment. So I urge you to watch even if you are not a LuLaRoe consultant. If this is something you think might benefit you in your own business, by all means enjoy it. Give me a thumbs up. Comment below if you see any or hear anything that you need clarification on or you want to add to. Okay, so here's my video. So this obviously was shot in landscape mode. So landscape mode is that full screen side to side mode, right? So it fills up your full screen when you're watching it on YouTube, let's say. So you can go full screen with this and it would fill up the screen. Perfect. Okay, so on Periscope for this particular talk, I went ahead and did the entire talk in landscape mode. Now that's something that's fairly new to Periscope still. When Periscope first came out, they only allowed you to do your broadcast in portrait mode, which is that tall up and down mode, and it has that black space on either side if you're watching it in landscape mode. So this posed a really interesting opportunity for those people who were starting to broadcast on Periscope but wanting to bring their content over to YouTube. And actually right over here in my sidebar you can see some suggested videos that I have, and some of those suggested videos actually you can tell that they must have broadcast on Periscope and then saved that to their camera roll and brought it over here to YouTube. And so when YouTube uploaded it, of course it uploaded with those black bars on either side. Now there's nothing wrong with that. You can still watch the video. It's perfectly fine to upload that way. But sometimes we don't want all that blank space on the side. So in a few minutes we're going to talk about how to get rid of all that blank space and actually use that real estate to your advantage. But for now, let's talk about landscape mode. So I videotaped this in landscape mode, and then I wanted to upload it to YouTube. Now one of the first things that you're going to come across when doing this transition from Periscope over to YouTube is that the setting in Periscope that allows you to save your broadcast to your camera roll, when it saves it to your camera roll, it actually saves it in portrait mode. So when you open up your video in your camera roll, instead of seeing this pretty little landscape mode video, you will see this exact same video sideways, up and down in portrait mode. It's not super fun to look at, and you obviously wouldn't want to upload it that way onto YouTube, but there's a super easy fix for it. So I'm going to come over here to my iMovie, And I'm going to first delete this little guy here that we don't need. I'm going to pull up a video here for you guys, and I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like and how to fix that issue, okay? So let's go to my photo library and let's pick a video. Oh, let's pick this video. So pretty. This is my backyard sunset the other day. Okay, so let's say this was my Periscope broadcast, right? And let's say I broadcast in landscape mode, just like you see it here in this little preview mode here. But then when I went to my camera roll, because I wanted to upload this video now to YouTube, this is actually what it would look like. So actually I need to just select this. Perfect. So we're going to drag this video down here to my workspace in iMovie. And then I'm going to highlight this and I'm going to rotate it up here. So I'm going to come up here to crop and I'm going to rotate this clockwise. So when I went to my camera roll, if this was a broadcast that I did on Periscope, when I went to my camera roll to upload it, it would actually look like this. So it would be in portrait mode up and down and you would see these blank spaces on either side. Now this is a super easy fix. So actually to demonstrate this, I actually already did what you would need to do to fix this. So if you're editing this from your computer in iMovie, you would come right up here to this little area in the top right corner. You would highlight the video that's in that portrait mode that you want to turn over to landscape mode again. You would highlight it. You would come up here to the crop field, highlight the crop field, and then right over here you would just turn it once counterclockwise. So we're going to click there, and there you go. So now that video is in landscape mode as it should be because that's how you recorded it. Now if you're doing this from an iOS device, from your iPhone or from your iPad, super simple. iMovie has grown exponentially on your mobile devices and it's really easy to use. You would import your video into iMovie on your iPad, let's say, and then it would still show up in that portrait mode side, up and down mode, sideways. So you would just actually place your fingers, of course, on the touch screen right in the center of that video, and you would just rotate your fingers counterclockwise, and that would rotate the picture that way as well. And it will bring it up for you in that landscape mode that you want. So super simple. So now that you have it in landscape mode, you do your edits to it, you think it's perfect, you're ready to upload it to YouTube. And if you're fairly new to YouTube videos, what might happen is when you go to upload it to your YouTube channel, more than likely you would come across a little notification that says, I'm so sorry, your video is longer than 15 minutes, if it is longer than 15 minutes. You cannot upload a video longer than 15 minutes to YouTube. And your next thought would probably be, what are you talking about, notification man? I have seen plenty of videos on YouTube that are longer than 15 minutes, right? So this is a super easy fix as well. So let's jump back over to Safari here. And I'm going to show you guys how easy this is to fix. So when you start a new YouTube channel, you need to verify that channel. So the easiest way to do this is actually just to go to Google and you want to search verify YouTube channel. Perfect. Okay. So right away it's going to bring you to, if you're searching on Google, the first thing that pops up is the link to verify your account. Let's say by phone. So this will send you, you'll go through the step-by-step instructions. It'll send you a 6-digit code to your phone number. You'll enter in that 6-digit code and done and done. Your video is now, your YouTube channel is now verified, which means that you can now upload videos longer than 15 minutes, as it states right here, upload videos longer than 15 minutes when you verify your account. It's a 30-second process, super easy to do. I would recommend, if you haven't done this already, even if you have no content on your YouTube channel yet, as soon as you start your YouTube channel, I'd recommend going ahead and getting this taken care of, so that in the future, if you're doing a video and it's longer than 15 minutes, you don't run across that problem. Perfect. Okay, so once you're verified on YouTube and you're ready to upload your video to YouTube, you've edited your video, you've made sure that the view of that video is in landscape mode for you, just the way you filmed it or broadcasted it over on Periscope. You're ready to upload, you verified your account, so then you would just go ahead and upload this video. There's a couple of ways to do that. So if you're working from a project here, let's see. So let's say you're done with your project here, you love the way it looks, everything's ready to go, and you want to just go ahead and upload it. You would save it, go back to your projects, and then when you highlight this little project here, and you can come over here and you can actually upload it to whatever platform you want to upload it to. So we would choose YouTube, and then we would actually just upload the video. You can rename it, you can add a description, you can add tags, so forth and so on. So it's a super simple process. Of course, I'm not going to upload this video, although I'm sure plenty of YouTube viewers would love to watch that. It's absolutely gorgeous. We get the best sunsets here. Okay, so we're not going to do that right now. In fact, I'm going to actually open up that test video again because we're going to play around with it in just a minute. And we're not going to use the beautiful sunset, unfortunately, so we'll delete that. Awesome. Okay, so that's how you would go through the process of moving your Periscope video over from Periscope to YouTube if you broadcast in landscape mode side to side like you see right here. But what happens if you broadcast in portrait mode like this guy did, or this girl did, or this girl down here did? What happens then? And if you don't want to upload your video in portrait mode when you have this blank space on the side, what are your alternatives? So I like to use a program called Canva to basically decorate this space off to the sides and make it a little bit more pleasing to the eye for my viewers. So Canva is a really great website. It's a web-based program as well as an application on your iOS device. So we're going to come over here. I have it opened here. Now I've already started my account, but I'm going to go ahead and log out just to show you what it looks like when you first get to Canva. So canva.com you'll see up here, and it'll bring you to this little screen where you can create an account. You can connect with Facebook or Google+, or you can put in your email and password to sign up. So once you've done all that, you can get into the Canva application and really start having some fun with it. So I'm going to go ahead and log in, and it's got my saved designs all down here. I've played around with it quite a bit, you can see, but up top is where you want to pay attention. This is Create a Design area, and they have tons of preset design options for you for any kind of project that you're working on. This is super helpful because a lot of times we don't know the dimensions that we need to create something. So for instance, a Facebook cover, you know, who knows what those dimensions are? You could Google it and try to find a reliable source, but even better, you could come right over to Canva. You could choose Facebook cover as your design canvas, and then there you go. So now look, Canva even has this little photo area so that when you're creating that background, you don't put any material in that part of the background that's going to be covered up by your profile picture. So I just love that. They make everything so easy to create really, really fun projects. I'm going to delete that though because we are not going to be working on that. Okay, so you can choose a design to create. For the purposes of what we're doing today, creating a backdrop for our portrait mode videos to put up on YouTube, we actually need to do a custom design. So if you're doing this from your iPad or phone or iPhone, from your mobile device, the application is going to look a little bit different. Instead of this option to use custom dimensions, you'll actually see in these areas, so you'll see like a bunch of different design options, and then off to the right you'll see where it says create a custom design. Same concept. So we're going to click on Use Custom Dimensions, and now it's going to ask us to put in the width and height of the pixels that we want to create our design. For your backdrop on YouTube, you're going to use 1280 high by 720, or I'm sorry, 1280 wide by 720 high. So 1280 by 720 is what you want to pop in there, and then you're going to click Design here, and it's going to bring you up to a blank canvas. And that canvas is the exact dimensions that you need to use on YouTube, and that will fill up the YouTube screen in full screen mode perfectly. So you can add stuff, elements all the way to each corner, and you're not going to lose sight of those elements on your graphic when you actually upload it to YouTube. So for today's purposes, we're going to skip over starting from scratch, and we're going to go right over here to this design that I created just a little while ago for you guys to give you an idea of what you can do with Canva. So the cool thing is Canva gives you so many elements that you can use for free, doesn't cost anything, and you can create these brilliant, beautiful graphics without having to pay a whole lot to do that. So this graphic that I created here for my YouTube video in portrait mode didn't cost me a thing to make. So all of these elements you can find over here in the Canva field. So they have backgrounds over here, they have text options, they have little elements here like shapes and grids and so forth and so on. And then even layouts, which we're not going to use for this because the dimensions of these layouts won't be quite right for this. You can even do search. So like you can search for icons and you'll see these little, there's tons of icons that pop up. But I used, like for instance, this little Periscope icon right over here. You can also type in the search field social media, and that's going to bring you to a bunch of social media icons right off the bat. So there you go, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, LinkedIn, so many different options, Yahoo, YouTube, hey YouTube. So yeah, tons of great options there. So just play around with it. You can search for all kinds of different things. You can browse through elements that they have. You can browse through backgrounds. I do want to show you guys this real quick. So like for instance on backgrounds, you can do a solid color background. You can do, you know, a simple background that's just a basic design in the back. You can even upload your own background, which is what I did. So I uploaded this background here. But you'll notice here on some of the backgrounds and some of the elements that you search for, a lot of these say free, and then you'll get to some that say like $1 US. So there are going to be certain designs or certain elements that you might want to use in the graphic that you're creating that will cost you a small fee of $1 to use. So they stick to that $1 format on the website. If you're using the application, for whatever reasons unbeknownst to me, they actually charge $2 per graphic instead of $1. I'm not really sure why. It's the same graphics, same elements, but they are double in price. So just a heads up for that if you're using the application instead of the website. Okay, so that being said, once you choose, so let's say I chose a background or an element that cost me money, I could go ahead and design my creation over here using that background or that element in my graphic, and I don't have to pay for it until I'm sure that I want to use it and I'm ready to download. So when I go to download, then that's when it would say, okay, you used 2 or 3 elements that cost $1 each. Your total today is $3 if you want to save this graphic to your personal role. Excuse me, I'm going to take a little sip of water here so I don't cough all over you guys on this video. Okay, much better. All right, so if you don't want to pay for anything, you don't have to. You don't have to use the paid for graphics. Like I said, I did all of this that you see here without using anything that was a paid for graphic. So this didn't cost me anything to create and download. Once you do pay for an element to use in a graphic and you download that graphic and pay for it, the next time you create a graphic, you don't get to keep that element to use anytime you want. You do have to pay for it each time you want to use it in a new graphic. There is a little bit of a workaround. So let's say you were using Canva to create your, your logo for your business. And so if you're creating a logo and you use a couple of elements to create that logo from Canva and they're paid for elements, but you don't want to have to go back and redo those elements every time you want to put that logo on something, you can create just the logo. So you can use a blank canvas, use the elements you want to create your logo, don't put anything else on the white space, and then you can save that logo to your camera roll or to your photos on your computer. And then there is a way to blank out all the white space behind that logo. So now that logo is a graphic in and of itself, and you can upload that later through uploads here on Canva, and you can plant that logo anywhere you want without having to pay for the elements inside of it every time. So if that's something that you guys would like to see me do a video on in the future, I'd be happy to do that. Just leave a comment in the comments below and let me know that that's something you're interested in. And if there's enough interest, then maybe I'll do a short video tutorial on how to do that specifically. Like how to create a logo here in Canva and then use that logo on multiple graphics in the future without having to pay for elements inside of it every time. Okay, but for today's purposes, I just created this nice little graphic. I did a couple of social media icons over here as my little call to action. So my portrait mode video will end up in this blank space. We'll see in just a few minutes. And it'll be kind of asymmetrical. So you'll have the video over here instead of centered in the middle and with blank space on either side. Now, if you wanted to, you could have it still centered right in the middle. I could move these graphics over to the other side if I wanted to. And here, we'll just undo that to make it pretty again. Perfect. So you can really move it around, make it whatever you want it to be. For me, I like the whole asymmetrical look if I'm going to be posting a portrait mode video. So I like the idea of having my graphics off to one side and my video off to the other. And this is kind of nice because it allows your viewers, as they're watching you on YouTube, if they like what they see, if you're giving them great content and they want to know how to connect with you on other platforms, you know, this gives them all that information right there front and center. So I know for me, a lot of times I'll be watching somebody on YouTube, and if I like what I see, if they have something like this right on the screen with the video, I'm very quick to even, you know, jump on my phone and go subscribe to their other platforms while I'm still watching their video. So it's a really great way to urge your viewers to follow you on other platforms as well. Okay, so I created this graphic here, and now we're going to use this graphic in iMovie, and we're going to plant our video right here in this blank space on the graphic, and it's going to all work together to upload beautifully over to YouTube. So we're going to scroll right over here to iMovie, and we're going to make that happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the background, okay? So you always want to layer everything appropriately. So just like you would get dressed and layer your clothes appropriately, you want to layer the same way in iMovie. So we're going to start with that graphic, that picture that we created in the background. So I'm going to go over here to my photo library, and I'm going to go to, let's say, all albums, all photos, because I just actually, there's my puppy. I just uploaded, or I just downloaded that graphic, right? So I downloaded that graphic to my photo library. It's right here at the bottom of my photos. I'm going to choose that graphic, so I'm going to highlight it, and I'm going to click this little plus sign, and it's going to bring that graphic right down here into my workspace on iMovie. So now this is going to be my background for my video. So you'll notice when it brings it down, see as I'm dragging this bar across, if you watch up in this area here, you'll see the picture's actually moving a little bit. It's like zooming out. That's called Ken Burns effect. I'm not sure who Ken Burns is. I'm not sure if I'd want to be friends with him if I did know who he was, because this irritates the bejesus out of me. It's so frustrating, but there's an easy way to stop that from happening, because you definitely don't want that happening while your viewers are watching your video. It will mess with the way your video lays on top of the graphic. You just don't want it, and you don't want to cut anything out. So let's say I had information up in this area instead of this decorative element. As it's starting, you know, part of that element's completely zoomed out, so we don't want that to happen. So we're going to highlight this graphic down below here. We're going to come up to our little cropping guy right here, and you'll notice it says Ken Burns is turned on right there. We're going to actually choose, so this is your style options. We're going to choose the fit style. So this is going to fit the picture into the outline of the video. So now everything in the picture will be viewable on our video. So that's what we want, and it won't move around at all. Fabulous. Okay, so now we have that done. Now here, you notice when we brought the video in down here, it only brought 4 seconds of video down. So it took this graphic here, this solid picture, and it turned it into a video, but it only turned it into 4 seconds of video. So in order to fix that, you're going to need to drag this and make it longer. So we're going to click it, and we're going to just pull it out as long as we want to pull it out to make it a longer stretch of video, so that when we lay our broadcast video on top of it, it'll match the length of that video. So if your broadcast is 8 minutes and 32 seconds, that's how long you want this picture to last, is for 8 minutes and 32 seconds. So right now it's at 13 seconds. I'm just going to pick a random video to use. We don't have to necessarily make sure it's exactly the same length for the purposes of this demonstration. So I'm going to go back to albums now. So we have our background. I'm going to go back to all my albums. We'll go down to videos, and let's see what we want to use. Oh, perfect. Okay, so this was a Periscope, a quick Periscope I did just the other day, and I did it in portrait mode. So let's go ahead and just use this. So we're going to highlight this, and you don't want, so if you just hit the plus sign here, it's going to actually add the video after your graphic. Do you see that? So we don't actually want that to be the case. So we want to bring this on top of our graphic here. So I clicked down on my trackpad to grab this video, and I'm dragging it up above the graphic element that we have there. Perfect. Okay, awesome. So now it's on top, and if you see in the preview mode here, let's go back to the beginning. There we go. So you can see in preview mode that the video is now laid on top of the graphic. Now it is centered, so like I was saying before, if you wanted to create your graphic with elements on either side of this center area where the video is going to lay, you could leave it just like that and you would have graphics on either side. But for me, like I said, I like the asymmetrical look, so we're going to actually move this video to a different space. Now this video right now is actually kind of laying in the middle of the graphic, and it is on top, but it's not on top in a way that's really picture-in-picture mode, and we want picture-in-picture mode. So we're going to actually make sure the video is highlighted, which it is. We're going to come right up here to this guy that looks like picture-in-picture, click on it, and instead of cutaway, we actually want to choose picture-in-picture. When you choose picture-in-picture, you can move this picture around, this video around. So I'm going to drag it over to my blank space here. I'm going to make it much larger so that it's easy to watch. So we're going to adjust this and use our little guide marks. That little yellow line is a guide mark to make sure it's centered on the page. And then I actually like to add a little border because I don't like this white space kind of blends with the video itself. I'd rather add a little border, so you can do a thick border or a thin border. For this one, let's go ahead and do a thick border. You can even change the color. So right here you can change the border color. And if you want to get real fancy with it, you can choose this little eyedropper guy, and you can bring it right over here to a color that's in your background so that you can kind of match your border to one of the background colors. So let's do this fun purple color, and I think I just want to adjust the darkness of it a little bit. So that's kind of nice because it lets you kind of blend your video border into your graphics colors as well. So it's just kind of a nice seamless transition instead of that stark black option. So now I have my border around my picture. I have my movie going inside of my graphic there. So let's go ahead and play just a few seconds of this so you guys can kind of see how that works. Whoops. That was a blooper reel. That was a little fun moment that I had on Periscope where I was logging myself out of my own broadcast by mistake. So, but yeah, so that's the gist of this. So the really cool thing is that you can do this and you can really set it to however you want. So even if we wanted to make this a little bit bigger and, you know, kind of bring it into that full screen mode, but it's still in portrait mode. So now you've got, instead of just this portrait video dead center with blank space on the side, now you've got this great graphic here on screen. When your people are watching your video, they can also see your call to action over here or whatever graphics you want to show them. You can even do a little shadow up here. So if you wanted to kind of give it just a slight 3D effect and put a shadow behind it, you could do that as well. I kind of like the shadow actually, so let's stick with the shadow. And then we'll preview this in full screen mode as well. So that's what they would see.
So I may or may not have just tried to check my email in the middle of broadcasting.
Okay, so that's just a quick little example of how that would work for you. So now you guys see how you can prettify. I know that's not a real word, but I like it. I'm going to use it anyways. You can make your videos really pop on YouTube, and you can use that great content that you're sharing with your users and your followers over on Periscope, and you don't have to let that expire after 24 hours. You can save it to your camera roll. You can bring it over to YouTube. If you're broadcasting in portrait mode, you can use that portrait mode video and really make it pop on YouTube. This is also a great way to even get clicks on YouTube because, of course, we know the thumbnail is king on YouTube as far as clicks to your video. And so this is really going to allow you to get a lot more views on YouTube, because a thumbnail of this graphic is way more presentable than a thumbnail of you in the center with black space on either side. So it just makes your graphic look it makes your video look a lot more professional, look like you put a little more effort into it. So that's what it is. I hope this has been really helpful for you guys. If there's anything that you saw in this video today that was helpful to you, please give it a thumbs up. If there's anything you saw in this video today that you'd like to dig into a little deeper and you'd like for me to do another video on to go in a little deeper into a certain aspect of what we covered today, by all means leave that in the comments below. Ask your questions, share your thoughts, and even any extra tidbits that you might have to contribute to this. I'd love to see your own knowledge and your own ideas of how we can even go further with what we've shared here today. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I look forward to seeing you all again in the near future. You actually do see up here on the screen my other social media options. So if you want to follow me at any of those other options, I'm on Periscope pretty regularly. So by all means, go follow me there at Jen Loves LuLaRoe, and I love to share my other technology ideas with you guys. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for viewing, and I'll look forward to seeing you again real soon.